We think of authenticity as something real, a mark, maybe, in a hand-drawn line or a crackle on vintage vinyl. But what if it's just another performance? A sign we assign meaning to, because it looks like the work of human hands. We crave these flaws not for their truth, but for the illusion they create that this was made by someone, somewhere else. Real in some way our own world is not. And so begins an arms race, one where machines don't just copy us, they learn to fake what we value most about being human. By the early 2000s, the digital world had learned to fake texture in ways that blurred the line between craft and computation. Grain filters gave photos a film look. Vintage fonts were digitally recreated with ink bleed and paper stains. What these tools offered wasn't just convenience. It was control over how we perceive authenticity itself. Machines didn't just mimic imperfection, they taught us what to look for, when and why.
Film grain is not merely a byproduct of analog photography. It's an organic textural language that conveys mood, history, and authenticity in ways digital noise.
Roland Barthes saw in photography a kind of paradox. It is both a presence and an absence, an imprint of a moment that can never be experienced again. He called this the having been there. The uncanny way photos tether us to what once was. But now AI models generate images so convincing they pass for real, yet they have no there. No shutter release in a physical world. The camera was supposed to capture time, but algorithms are learning how to fake it. For Barthes, the punctum, a jarring detail that pierces the viewer, is proof of lived experience. A smudge on a lens, an out, a focus edge, a shadow in the corner. These are not just flaws, they're fingerprints of authenticity. But today's deepfakes inject these elements algorithmically. The camera isn't there to capture them. It creates them from code. What was once the residue of truth is now a feature, a calculated trick. The uniqueness of the photographic trace is collapsing under its own replication. Once, a photo was evidence that something happened. Now it's data generated by a machine with no memory and no mortality. Flusser described how photographers play with their cameras to discover new states of things. But if all those states can be simulated, what remains of the photographer as creator? The game is shifting from capture to simulation, and we're not sure which side we're on anymore.
Then, to check dye and fabric colors, and check them accurately and scientifically, there's the spectrophotometer. This instrument can detect and record more than 2 million different colors.
The typewriter was once a symbol of efficiency, but by the mid-20th century, it had developed into an aesthetic language in itself. Dingy keys, smudged ink, uneven spacing. Each machine left behind its own personality, and we began to trust these artifacts as proof of human effort. Once we learned the telltale signs of authenticity, technology started to replicate them. Instagram filters mimic Polaroid grain. AI handwriting fakes ink blotches and uneven pressure. What began as a signal for human labor now becomes just another algorithm. This is the arms race of imperfection. Every time we build a better lie detector, the machines just get sneakier. The goal isn't to fool us forever. It's to stay one step ahead, long enough for the track itself to become accepted as original. The line between human and machine erodes with each generation.
The publisher of a city paper has the responsibility of running a large organization. His is a good position, and one you might do well to aim for, but there aren't many of them, as it is one of the top positions in journalism. You will probably start outside, in just any kind of weather, reporting news, if you choose journalism as your life work. News reporting is a young man's job, for the reporter must have stamina.
We used to believe authenticity was something you could see, feel or hear. A fingerprint in clay, a smudge of oil on paper. But when machines get really good at faking those signs, we're left with a strange problem. How do we tell real from fake if the fake looks just like the real? The answer is that we can't, not without already knowing what to look for. And in a world where the tools of mimicry are everywhere, even our ability to know, to trust, begins to erode.